Hi, welcome to Honestly Friends Pod with Day and Lee, where we talk about life, love, friendships, and the culture. What's up, Lee?
Hey Day, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. A
We're
wonderful
matching
day.
today.
We are matching today. I noticed that. You look really
Beauties,
pretty
beauties,
today.
black beauties in black. That's what I'm talking about.
Beauties
Thank
and
you. You
black
as
beauties.
well.
You look pretty all the time. After I said that, I'm like,
Thank you.
today, you look pretty every day, but you look pretty
You're
on
so
camera
sweet.
right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So today, girl, I wanted to talk to you about something that all of us, well, women, we talk about it a lot, but it's from an aspect of men, right? And so the topic is settling, right? And so I
Okay.
think humankind is taught to never really settle, right? And then we're women, so we think about it from our perspective. But
Real
go ahead.
quick, I actually
Hmm.
think women are taught to settle because we're taught to like want to settle down. But continue.
Are we taught to settle?
Down, maybe not set. Nowadays, it feels like it with all the red pill
I think it
podcasts.
depends. Okay, I think it depends on how you're raised. Because I was raised by a single mother, so she taught me not to. So I think it could be half and half.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know because like I think maybe society. You're right. Society teaches
society
us to
as
settle.
women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And so the opposite would be, or something to think about, is are men taught to settle? And they're not, right? They're taught to shoot for the stars, even though they could be
right.
mediocre. You know what
Play
I'm
the
saying? Like,
field, play the game
yeah,
till they
yeah.
ready. If they ever get
Mm-hmm.
ready.
Mm-hmm. But I was thinking about it from the context of dating. And I could just remember this was a few years ago, but it started me getting my thesis ready about this topic because I could talk about this topic for
Not a
days and I've talked to it.
thesis.
Yeah, no, I have points about it. And
Okay.
the title of the thesis is that men settle.
I agree. I think
And
they settle more than women settle.
yeah, they settle. I think they settle. And it was shocking until I was dating in like the real world outside of college. And like, I guess I was a young professional. And, my mom was like, you need to start dating. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll go on a date, whatever. I just realized a couple at that time, I just felt like, yeah, I don't think I'm this guy's type. I think he thinks I'm cute. And I think he had nothing better to do. And I think that he thought that maybe like I would look good to be with, but I don't think he really liked me. Like he wasn't asking me questions about what I did or if I told him what I was interested in. He didn't seem to care too much about it. He kind of seemed dismissive. Dismissive. And I'm just like, damn, I don't think this person likes me. I think he can do
You
with or
check
without me.
boxes.
Exactly. But he could do with or without me. But at the moment, there was no uh placeholder in the seat. So it's like, okay, whatever, I'll take you out on dates. You want to hang out with me? We can hang out. But there was no like googly eyes. And I don't know about you, but I like that. Like,
Yeah.
made me feel special. I didn't necessarily feel special. I felt a little bit cared for. Like, like they weren't rude or anything like that. But it's just like, yo, this is weird. But it was because I was dating in my late 20s, early 30s. And I think that's the age where men start to settle. If there's nothing to do, or just like have a placeholder until whoever knocks their socks off walks up, and then baby, you ain't got a chance. He gonna leave me as
Yeah.
soon, whether we're
As
married or not.
once you
And
find
I'm
your
just like,
person, you about to make that exit.
yeah,
That's
and it's just
true.
like, what happened? But if you really think about it, if you think from the beginning of when y'all started being together, the signs are there. So I want to
That's
talk
true.
about that because I don't want fellow women to like get caught up in that situation. I want us to make sure we're not the women that men settle for. And then men, of course, should make sure that they're not the men that women settle for, because women settle too. But we're not talking about that right now. And that does apply, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about like, how do we avoid not being that girl?
Okay,
So do you
tell
have
me.
any like
Do
thoughts
I
on this?
um I mean, well, no, I would agree that like men
Mm-hmm.
tend to settle like what I feel like it could be for a number of reasons too. Like sometimes, especially if they're a little bit more on the ambitious side, like they will kind of put work and that sort of thing like as a priority. So like they'll date really great women or have a really good woman that they really love and care for, but not settle down with that person. And then as women, we start to be suspicious. Like, hold on now, it's been 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, like where is this going? And eventually, like, if there's no intention or if it seems like broken promises, like, oh, one day soon, and there's no like definitive, it's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go. And so I do think like later on in life, like once men hit like their 30s and up, maybe even like late 30s, I would say, that's when they start to be like, well, who's around? Because the girl that I loved when we were in our 20s or maybe earlier 30s or whatever, she's already gone. So who's kind
And
of
not
sitting
available,
here?
not an
She's
option.
unavailable, even whether she's in a relationship with someone or she just closed that door with you. She's just not an option anymore. And then it's like, okay, well, who's here? Who's stuck around? Who's been wagging a tail around me for the past several years? So I do think
Mhm.
men will
So like,
settle.
yeah. So what we ought to worry about is like being that second option, right? Like, am I your am I like am I it for you, or is there something or someone? So you got to pay attention to like, homeboys or
Yeah.
mamas. And like, or just if that girl is still around but she for some reason is not available and they're
Mhm.
like friends, air quote,
And
or
I would
they've been
say,
off and on forever.
like, what's
What's that
going on?
about? I
And
don't
I
know.
would say, even like in the beginning stages, if I meet someone, or in the past when I've like met someone, if they've kind of
Mhm.
alluded, I know people date. So, like, if you're just like, oh, I'm dating, cool.
Right.
But after about maybe a good old month of that, I'm just like, you still dating this other person or other people? Because then I feel like, okay, then that means I'm kind of not it. Because you met
Mhm.
me, you seen what you needed to see, you heard what you needed to hear, and you're still not saying like, okay, I want to pursue things further. I take that as a sign. I know some people are like, oh, people date. Like, I kind of take that as a, you're not really interested in me sort of situation, and I'll just go. Like, I you need to pick me, choose me, love me, or let me go.
Or there's no urgency.
No urgency.
And that urgency can be prolonged for years. It could be months, weeks, and then it runs some months, and then you realize like, you're been talking to this guy for a while, could be a year now, and like he has periods where he's super on it,
Mm-hmm.
reliable, Mr. Reliable, but then he falls off the face of the damn earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just
And
like,
I've dated
okay.
that. I've dated someone like that. Like, I think a good amount of people have, and it's just like, hold on, where is
Mm-hmm.
this going? Like, what's the problem? What's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
And usually the problem is he don't like you like that. Like, that's just the bottom line. He just doesn't like you like that. Or yeah, no, I would say that's it. Like, because I feel like if you actually really like someone, like, you are afraid to let them go. You know that if you feel like somebody's really great, amazing, special, you don't want
Mm-hmm.
other people out in the world to see how great, amazing, special that person is before you lock it down. So it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
you may like me enough, but you don't like me fully.
Yeah, it's the
And
liking you enough part. I think the enough part is where you could be agreeing to be the person that the guy settles with, right? Or
mm-hmm,
settles for. Because those people that tend to disappear, they also know how to get back on your good side,
mm-hmm.
and then you thinking it's all good, it's all good. Okay, he's never, or we're talking about men right now, so he's never going to do that again. There may be a good period where y'all are fine, and then inconsistency flies right
Mm-hmm.
back in, and you're just like, oh, I've been bamboozled again. So
Yeah.
for me, I would think that that's kind of a sign like, yo, you're just not that into me. If you can just be cool and not cool with seeing me, you're sending mixed messages. And then who's occupying your time and your mind
In the meantime,
in
when you're
the
not here.
interim? Exactly. And then
Mm-hmm.
so you could be like the second option, or you could be the situation where men don't have, like, there are no other damn options. You don't want to be that either, right? Like, and I've seen that where men have I don't know if it's a biological clock, but men have a time, and I think it's definitely their 40s, where they're just like, okay. And if we talked about this the other day, when their friends start getting married,
All of a sudden, the whole group married.
the whole group. We've seen that in 2 male circles, 2
That we've
separate ones.
seen up close, like the whole group, the whole bird, the whole flock start flocking together. Like,
Mhm.
okay, marriage and
Mhm.
kids, I see
And
it.
all of them being trifling to some extent. Well, okay, there are 2 circles, and like none of them are really. I don't know. I don't want to judge people, but they're men, right? And but they find a woman to marry them because either that woman is suspecting or she's not. But it only takes one guy in a guy group to get married, and then 2-3 years later, about 3 or 4 of them have joined and had children. So I don't know if it's a biological clock, but
I think
it's something.
so there's always conversation, especially like if you're into podcasts and male podcasts, which I'm not, but I be on TikTok and whatever and Twitter, and I see different
Right.
things pop up that are popular conversations. And
Mhm.
there's always been the conversation for women where it's like, you better settle down quick. You don't want to be 30 and not married and without kids, and you're gonna be an old cat lady and blah 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 blah. That whole thing. But nobody talks about how men be feeling lonely. And I think that's what happens when we see
Yeah.
like one man gets married in his friend group, and then you turn one way and turn back, and the whole rest of the group is all married or in relationships, and now it's everybody super serious. They don't want to be by themselves. Like the real reality is when men talk about like, oh, women gonna be so lonely, it's to put fear in us because they don't want to be lonely. Because women tend to have community. Like even if you don't have somebody like a romantic situation, and let's be for real, there is not a shortage of men out there that won't get with a woman if she says, you want to come get with me? It's more likely that women are like, if a man approaches me or you or whatever, that we're more likely to be like, no. As opposed to like, if we're like, hey, sir, I'm looking for some fun for tonight. Like, it's not a lot of men that's going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not into that. Somebody within a 10-minute time frame about to be like, yeah, I can come. I'll go to your house where you live at. What you doing? Like, so I think
It's
men
true.
have a bigger fear of like being lonely. So when one person in their friend group gets married and then another person, bites the dust, so to speak, the rest of them are like, they're unavailable to me. Like it's either in order to maintain this friendship, this friend group, I now have to bring a woman into this situation or bring my partner into this situation so that we can still do things as friends. Because now they have a family. So I need to bring my family around, or else I'm going to be the odd man
Right.
out. So I think that's why they kind of all tend to shift at the same time with each other.
Yeah. So like for us ladies, you have to kind of, one thing to be wary of or to look out for is you got to be wary of the man who don't ever want to get married, right? I think we talk about that. But you got to be wary of the man that want to get married right away. Like why?
Or want to put
do you want to
you
get
or
lock you
want to put
down?
you like immediately. It's like, hey, I'm looking for, it's weird, like, because some people date with intention,
Mhm.
intentional dating, where it's like, I want to date to be in a relationship. And it's like, that sounds good for sure. But I'm always a little bit weary of that because it's like, no, I don't want you to just put me in the slot. Like, I'm not a puzzle piece. Don't try to fit me. Like, if you
Mhm.
meet me, you date me, and it's like, oh, wait, no, this girl is great for me, then yes, let's make those next steps. But don't, like, when you kind of just start with the intention of, I want someone, you're going to ignore red flags. You're going to ignore all kinds of things because your intention is like, well, I just want to be with somebody. And men tend to do that. Like, I went on a date
I've
like
seen it.
years ago.
I've seen it.
I went
I've
on a
seen
date
it.
years ago, and this man, I was just like, we are not doing this ever again. Actually, like,
Why you
it was
said that?
just, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like a terrible date. But we were out, and it's like, I don't know him. Like, we met like on social media. We were messaging like a little bit, and so we went out to go eat. And I don't know what, something happened with his food where like he either got the wrong order, it didn't come out on time, something weird like that. And he made like a comment to me where he was like, "Oh, you need to talk to like the waitress, whatever, like the host, not the hostess, I guess the waitress, like and like kind of apply that pressure. You know how women would be like, or men would be like, I'll be saying nothing, but my girl be rowdy, like she'll be like, excuse me, my man food, not whatever. I was just like, I'm not gonna do that, sir. I don't know you. Like, you are not my man. And for me as a woman, I'm like, I want to be with an assertive man. So like, if you're looking at me to be that girl that's jumping up, like I'm not. We just met. I'm not there to be like, oh, excuse me, ma'am, like you got my man order wrong. You're not my man. And I'm looking at you to be assertive and be a man, to be like, excuse me, miss, like this is the wrong order. So I was just like, I don't know, like don't fit me in that girlfriend. That's girlfriend behavior. Like you need to be advocating for yourself. I'm not your girlfriend. I don't know you.
But even if you were his girlfriend, like you said, do you want to do that all the time? Don't you want that to be, I don't know.
I want you to be assertive. Like I want you to be an assertive man.
Everybody's different. I would want me saying something to be the exception to the rule. Like for some reason, like, you know what, this be expected to piss me off. So now I'm gonna go off like on her because why are you trying my man? But that's not my style. If I have a man around, if it's just me, then I gotta do what I gotta do. And I expect you to
be the man. I expect you to be the man. I expect you to be like, excuse me, and not rude or anything, but like, excuse me, miss, like you brought out the wrong order, or like we've been waiting here for, I don't know, an hour, whatever the situation is. So I'm like, yeah, no, that's not me. And it was just weird because it was a first date and only date, and that was his expectation of me. And I was like, never doing
that's
this
funny.
again with you.
You just made me think of something. I just started working at a restaurant, right? And there was something wrong with the order, and my coworker was fixing it, and I guess it was taking too long. And I saw the guy's girlfriend come to the back and look through the kitchen doors, and I was like, I don't know if you, but she looking and she casing you out, and she was like, she rolled the server words, rolled her eyes, but it could be that she's just a feisty woman and was like, would my man play that? Or it could be that situation like, can you go back there and see? And she did it. I wish I would.
And no matter what the situation is, I'm not doing it.
I'm not.
That's just the takeaway from that. Like, I'm not the one. Like, you are a man, and I expect you to be a man. Like, I expect to turn my brain off when I'm around you. So if I can't do that, like, because I'm not safe around you. Like, you can't advocate for your own self as a man for your own food.
I mean, that's hella unattractive. I'm gonna just say that.
To
what? Oh my gosh.
What? So yeah, like some people just try to put you in that mold immediately because he literally said it to me, and I was just like, well, I'm not your girlfriend. Like, I don't know you. And you know me, I said it just like that.
You said that?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know you.
And what did he say?
Who you are. He was like, he was just like trying to joke it off, but I was just turned off, like, that's honestly at that point, because I'm like,
he meant that.
No, people I know. That's what I'm saying.
Off. That's what I'm saying. If you really look at it, people show you who they are. And when it goes bad, you be like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, yeah, they show you who they are. And you accept them how they are. And then only complain about it when shit don't go right.
Right.
And everybody does that. So, so if it goes well, then you don't ever have to complain. But if it goes bad, like, I just don't understand. What do you mean? Like, huh? Like, the signs are there.
Yeah.
And
always.
So, like, I guess a way to kind of like skirt around that or try to avoid that is like picking a guy who knows what they want and who they are, like can't be easily swayed. Like, let's say their friends are getting married, they're comfortable, like, you know what, I ain't married yet. I wouldn't mind being married, or maybe I don't want to be married, but if I am someone who does want to be married, I ain't found that person yet, so I'm not rushing. So I guess I'll be the single friend that come to the cookout or to the baby's birthday party. That's fine.
Right.
And I might bring a girlfriend, but I'm not marrying her just because all my homeboys got married. No.
Right.
I think that helps. Another thing probably would be like, for us, just honestly waiting for what we want.
And picking up on those signs like early and making your exit early. Like I said, I think one of the big things is like, when you meet someone initially and they're not like choosing you in a way, like you feel like you're running them down, you feel like you have to initiate a lot of communication or whatever, that person don't like you. like, because you're going to keep playing that game for the rest of the duration of that relationship. Even if it gets to a point of a marriage, you're still always going to be chasing after them, because even once you get I actually saw like a TikTok earlier today, because they were talking about like hair dam rings, like, or what's that song? Who sings that song? Is it 112 Cupid? One of the we ain't getting no younger. We might as well do this.
Jagged Edge.
Jagged Edge. Like,
I used to hate that line.
That's a hair dam ring. That's a hair dam situation. Like, you've been wanting to get married. Hair dam. Hair go to ring.
What is? What is a hair dam? I've never heard that before.
That's what they were calling on TikTok. I just saw it.
You don't learn. You don't learn me something. So learn me again. What is it? A hair dam?
It's like hair dam. Like if somebody was begging for Starbucks, and it's like, hey, I've been wanting some Starbucks all day, and they keep talking about the Starbucks, and I'm like, okay, girl, hair dam. Here goes Starbucks. Like, it's a hair dam ring. It's like, I want to get married. All my friends are getting married. Like, I can't wait till I get married. Baby, when are we going to get married? And then it's just like, okay, here's a ring. Hair dam. But the relationship actually hasn't really changed. Like, they still act like they don't really like you. Like, even in their vows, they might say something that's like, oh, I saw you and I never really cared in the beginning. But you wore me down. Well, it might not be as terrible as that. Hopefully not. But it's like, over time.
Girl, on Love and Hip Hop, it'd be like that. It'd be like that on Love and Hip Hop.
See? And it's like a hair dam moment where it's like, okay, you've been around and you not going nowhere, and apparently I'm not gonna get what I want out there in this world. Haven't found it yet. So here's a ring.
I would never. I know we say never say never. I'm not doing it. I would never. What?
Yeah.
That is so rude.
People be doing
First
it.
of all.
I mean, of course they don't say it like that, but it's like you can tell, like, the energy is not, there.
No, but some people
romantic.
do that. Like, some people are volatile and will talk to you crazy like that. And the way I would tell them what to do with their hair damn ring.
It's like, the thing is, though, it's like we should know better than to let it get to the part of the hair dam where it's like, I've been asking you a lot, like, where is this going? And you haven't had anything to say. Or for a lot of people, it's like, that man has been cheating on you repeatedly. You know what I mean? Like, we know people that are like that. That's like been in relationships. They've cheated once, twice with multiple, different people. And it's just like, you still waiting on what exactly? They're showing you that they don't care for you. They're showing you that they don't like you. They're showing you that they don't respect you, but you still waiting on the ring. So if you ever finally get it, it really is like nothing else panned out. So here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so cringy. And like, or something not as egregious as cheating on me, but just show me you don't really give a damn. Like, people don't know about me, or we've been together. Well, we've been in each other's space for a long time, but you don't claim me as your girlfriend. Like, oh no, that's just my friend girl. Like, who said she was my girlfriend? Or I never said we were in a relationship. Like, I told her from the beginning, I'm not ready for a relationship. I hate that line. Like, I told you in the beginning I wasn't ready for a relationship.
Then why were you talking to me?
And why are we doing relationship things on your terms? So we as women gotta kind of nip that in the bud, like, when we're tired of it. Because I guess if you want to use each other, but when you're wanting something new, or you're wanting something more in depth and you see that person's not giving it to you, we kind of have to back away. And I saw that Brittany Renner, she kind of had like a breakdown on a one of them male podcasts, which is terrible because we're female podcasters. We're not trying to talk shit about male podcasters.
I know, we don't do this often, guys.
We don't. But she had said that she want something deeper. So she realizes that she was part of the problem and she was entertaining people that she saw no future with. They were in her phone. It's not like her phone was dry, but it wasn't anything deep. It was very superficial. And she didn't want that for her life. So she was like, even though it's transactional, we're using each other, maybe for just entertainment for the day or so or a few weeks. When she knows it's like, this isn't going anywhere and I want more, it's not fair to them to keep them around. Or her, because they have access to her that she doesn't want to give. And she wants to be free to to have a deep, meaningful relationship. That's what she wants. But she said she had to admit first that that's what she wanted and stop saying that she didn't need a man and blah, blah, blah. Like, she wants a man. And there's
And I
nothing wrong with
think
that.
that can be such a hard conversation to have with yourself, because especially because nobody knows the timing of life. So it's like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, you don't really want to say to yourself and definitely to other people, like, oh, like, I want a relationship, because it's like, I won't say you've never had one, but like, you've not had one that's lasted. So then you kind of start to think like,
or you've never been treated nicely in a relationship.
So you wonder if it's even out there. So then you kind of start to like
say
harden yourself, like, to the idea of,
that's
like,
exactly what she was saying. She was like, you have to admit that is what you want, and you have to believe that you can get it. Like, that's part of the battle.
You gotta have an abundance mindset.
I'm sure she just, there's part of her, unfortunately, that just feels like maybe she won't be taken seriously because of like her past. But the right person will, won't punish her for being beautiful and, whatever.
And having a life before
her, who just really likes her heart. That's ultimately what it is. And just like, you're my person. I can't stand to be around. I can't stand to not be with you, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. Like, you just show me amazing things. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I say it and people be like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, men subtle. You just got to pay attention. And I'm a people observer. And I get vibes, and I'm just like, this boy don't like me. Like, I'm just like, do you like me though? Like, and that's a criteria. Like, does my person like me?
Because people can say they love you and they can. People can love you, but that, like, to me, I feel like that's what makes relationships. That's what makes relationships last and actually be beautiful, when you like someone. Like, when you actually just like the person that they are.
Like, that's my homie. Like, no, you can't just be my homie, because that ain't gonna work either. But like, you're a good person. I think I admire you.
The balance between lovers and friend. Like, you want to be lover and a friend at the same time. That's when the relationship is chef's kiss, like you said.
And chef's kiss, because like but that was really my first time dating, like, not in high school, because that's not really dating, not in college, because I mean, that could be dating, whatever, but like, as an adult trying to figure it out, I'm like, okay, I have to start from scratch. In my late 20s, I was just like, yo, I don't like this. Like, this is weird to me. Like, in the beginning, I always say in a relationship, the beginning is the best it's ever gonna get. So if I'm feeling like you don't really like, you could do without me, no, I want to feel like you think I'm dope, you like me, other than, and that's a sign. Men be settling, like, like you said, like, he wanted you to tell a waitress about his meal, like you his mama.
Like, I'm your mom.
He's settling for a mom.
Baby,
he's settling for a mom. And men get to that age when they're 30. Not all men, but yeah, some. It's just because the operation of running a life takes a lot of work. And a lot of men are used to their mamas doing it for them.
True.
So friends, don't let a man settle for you. Don't settle, and don't be the person that someone's settling for, because we deserve to be,
loved
chef's
properly.
Kiss situation. Exactly.
Love properly. Yeah.
All right. So what do y'all agree with us? Let us know down below in the comments if you're watching us on YouTube, as well as drop a comment
on
our Instagram
at Honestly Friends Pod.
We'll see y'all later next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.